the time to do that. Then, uh, then also we will get to go to the Qumran, the Dead Sea. Now, a little interesting note about the Dead Sea: it's very, very salty water. You can't swim in it. You can float in it, but it's so good for your skin that even Guy has told me tells the ladies to be careful because they might just look 20 years younger coming out of there. Now the men, of course, are grateful and love it, but it's just that's what happens. And then we get to go to Jerusalem, the Golden City, the city that bears the name of God, the Mount of Olives, the Garden of Gethsemane, the Garden Tomb, you name it, City of David, and then the upper room. The upper room for this group is going to be really special because there's going to be a moment of commissioning for those that are part of the Watchman program. Let's go to the next slide. And so to begin with, we start in Jaffa, which is where Tel Aviv was birthed out of. To fly into Ben Gurion again, the Mediterranean Sea, Netanya. Here's some pictures of that place. There's the aqueduct that comes and used to bring the water there. Jaffa is also where first of all, Jonah left to go and preach to Nineveh, or actually he ran away to not preach to Nineveh. And this is also where Peter came, and went and got commissioned to go and preach to the Gentiles. And so let's go to the next slide. So very unique places. Everywhere you go, it's something biblical. You see a Galilee area. Again, the Golan Heights is where now there's a little settlement that is developing on the Golan Heights called Trump Heights, because the Golan Heights was, Trump ordered that area be annexed by Israel, even though they had it for a long, long time. That's one of the reasons why they named a village after him. Nazareth, you get to go to see where Jesus lived. And let's go to the next slide. And the Jordan River, again, the Dead Sea, baptism in the Yardenite, which is the Jordan. That's how they say it in Hebrew over there. And I've already kind of went over some of these. This is where Pastor Bob, and also Guy and different people will get to do short little exposés on location. Isn't that amazing to be able to learn the Bible on location? Let's go to the next slide. Jerusalem, again, Mount of Olives, Garden of Gethsemane, the Garden Tomb. You get to go to the Western Wall. You get to put a prayer in the wall alongside with the Jewish people. People that can't go, they may send prayers with you to go and place them in this place in solidarity with the Jewish people as well. And this is also the location we will also commission the Watchmen to go to all the different locations that we've already strategically scouted out to go and actually practice what we've been learning. Next slide. So the tour includes one night at the shore of the Mediterranean, 3 nights at the shore of Galilee, 1 night at the shore of the Dead Sea, 4 nights in Jerusalem. And all the touring sites, all the bus that we will take you around. It's an air-conditioned bus. It even has Wi-Fi. All these kinds of information we will, in a later time, those that sign up, we will actually go through a lot of preparation time with you to make sure that you're fully prepared on going on this trip. Included also is like you said, the bus driver. His name is Urim. Everybody say Urim. You get to meet my friend Urim. He's a great bus driver. It'll be a really fun time. He's a great, wonderful, fun guy. Besides Guy Leibowitz. Guy Leibowitz is our guide that you're going to be with. They make a great team. It'll also include the tips and the gratuities, entry to all the tour sites and activities, full Israeli breakfasts and dinners daily in the hotel restaurant. So every day you will wake up to a huge smorgasbord of wonderful Israeli food. The food there is very much farm to table, very, very fresh. And you will truly taste and see that the Lord is good. And it's really part of the promised land food that we'll be able to participate in. And then we're going to have a farewell dinner at the very last day before we fly out to kind of just go over what are some of the significant places that really touched you. So the tour excludes, as far as the price goes right now, it excludes airfare. Because it's so far out, we don't know exactly how much the airfare will be. What the good news is a lot of airlines are now flying back. British Airways just started to fly. United started to fly. So the more airlines fly, the less the cost comes. And if it becomes economical, we'll fly out of Dulles and then just charter a bus from here and bring everybody over to Dulles. So not everybody has to, find their own way there. So we could also fly out of Richmond. We'll see which is the best connecting flight, etc. So we'll make it sure that it's a trip that I want to do. And I'm one of these, let's find the best route, find the best price, and the best connections. And so that's the way we will set that up as far as the air travel goes. Any expenses of personal nature, of course, travel and medical insurance, which we really highly, highly encourage to almost to the point of require. So get the medical insurance. We'll let you know where you can purchase that. It's a compare site where you can compare prices and make something that is really comfortable for you in that regard. Next slide. So the hotel accommodations, they've already been picked. So on the Mediterranean is Tal Tel Aviv. I've stayed there. It's right outside of the beach on the Mediterranean. And then in Tiberias area, it's the Magdala Hotel. In fact, I just stayed there a couple of weeks ago. It's a wonderful place. And like I said, it's literally on the sea. I mean, you can walk to the water from your hotel room. What's also unique about this place is they found a synagogue about 20 years ago where Jesus definitely spoke in. So just think, while you're walking to dinner and to the lobby, you can see through the window where Jesus would have stood. Imagine that. Like you're 10 feet away from where they know 100% that Jesus was there. Then at the Dead Sea, there's going to be a resort where they actually also pump in the water, the salt water from the sea, so you don't even have to venture out into the sea. And then, of course, the Lady Stern Hotel in Jerusalem, which is really ideally located. It's actually Kathy's favorite hotel because it's right outside is the tram. It's so easy to get around Jerusalem. Of course, you'll have the bus, but in the off moments, you can also get around to all the shopping areas and be with the Israelis. That's the idea, is to get, there's a lot of archaeological stones in Israel, but there's also the living stones still today. The ancestors of those that built the archaeological stones are still alive today, and they're building still today. And so we get to mingle with that. The experience is so much vaster than we would even think about it. Is vaster actually a word? So much more vast, right? Vaster. There you go, a new word. Chat GPT, that one. Next slide, please. So this next slide is basically some of the things we will cover that once you register and we get closer, it'll answer a lot of the questions that you have as we move forward. Make sure that your passport is valid for 6 months beyond the trip. So that's one of the things you need to possibly look into now. If your passport is expired or will expire, it's time to get another one, and so that you're prepared for that. The real ID to travel overseas? In the United States, yes. Yeah. So you need a passport to travel overseas, but the real ID is something that you need within the country. When does that due? I need to go for that. But that's only in state. So, but because Israel's out of state, make sure make sure you have a passport and a real ID. So get both bases covered. Again, we're going to help you figure out all the flight plans, how much you're supposed to bring. There's a new little requirement that Israel requires as of January 1st or January 20th or something. We'll walk you through every step of the way with this packing lists, etc. Next slide, please. And we will be able to even tell you about what kind of adapters they have. They have their power is 220 or 210, 220 instead of the 110 here. And so we'll let you know exactly what kind of plugs to get. So every little bit of this will be handled for you, or at least we will give you all the information as we move through this process. Next slide. Money matters the same way. Then we have the Israeli shekel. We'll tell you exactly what to bring in that. Next slide. Even here, how to communicate back home. So this is all the apps, how to communicate with people back home, how to share pictures with each other. All that will be happening later too. Next slide. Is it safe to travel in Israel? That is the big question. Now, is it safe? Would the media tell you it's safe? Right. The media blows things up big time, right? And, a guy once told me, he said, what do I tell the people? They had somebody stabbed another person in Israel, and it made big news, right? And I asked him, what should I tell everybody? Everybody's on edge. And he says, well, just tell them not to travel to Chicago. Crime is a lot less there than here. It's just so magnified by the media that they try to terrify us, right? The real terrorists is the media. They terrorize you, right? So you got to put that into a grain of salt. We've been taking groups. We were just there. The Pastor Moseley was there, and he was there during the rocket attack, right? I was there during the first Iranian attack. I'm still here. I'm still talking to you. The hand of the Lord is the one that protects us. The hand of the Lord protects us as we walk out this door, and the hand of the Lord protects us there as well. The Iron Dome and all the other defensive things is really, the real Iron Dome is the hand of God. And the Israelis know that, and they know it, but at the same time, it's still harder for them, some of them to believe. And then the media, of course, makes it much bigger than it is. And so I think I just read an article the other day, and I might share it with all of you, and that is, it's biblical to go to Israel. And it's biblical to go during wartime, really, to go and stand with the people of Israel. Pastor Moseley noticed the Jewish people were like, why are you here? Isn't it dangerous for you? And they said, no, we want to stand with you. And it was like, wow, what kind of person are you? Well, then they say we're Christians that understand the Bible and that understand your place in the Bible, and we love you. And that is hard for them to understand in a world that screams anti-Semitism from everywhere, right? All the college campuses, you name it, all over the world. So to have you stand with them. Guy was just telling us a story the other day when we were walking into the Garden Tomb area. An Orthodox Jew, now being from in that community, I understand some of the Orthodox are probably the most antagonistic towards us, the Jewish believers. However, as he's walking by, he says, where are you guys going? He says, we're going to the place called the Garden Tomb. He said, well, what's that? They had no idea that that location was even there in Jerusalem. He says, well, this is where Jesus was buried and rose. Again, he says, really? I had no idea. And who are you people? Usually when you bring up Jesus to some of these folks, they just kind of like, But this response was very positive. He says, I may need to go and check it out. My Jewish friend, Urim, when we did a group one time, he's been taking groups to all these locations for 30 years. Never went into the Garden Tomb until about 3 years ago when I got to. He says, "Show me around." So I got to tour him around the Garden Tomb, and I took pictures of him coming out of the tomb. I said, "Now I got something to blackmail you on here if I need to." But anyway, the Jewish people are very curious, and when you come and stand with them and pray with them in their distress, it speaks enormous volumes, way bigger than the media could ever speak. And so you will come back and be a huge encouragement. We also will make available the bandanas, the Psalm 91 bandanas. We brought them to the Israeli soldiers, to different people. It's such a door opener to have communication. One lady shared just 2 weeks ago that she shared with a lady, she just went into tears, a Jewish lady who'd been struggling, and she was able to share the love of God just through this little bandana. And it's just Psalm 91 in Hebrew and Psalm and also in English. So it's a beautiful little gift that you can give to the Israelis. And so you be blessed, but you'll also be a blessing. I just want you to understand that too. So security concerns, when you know that you are a blessing to someone, it doesn't matter, right? God has the security concerns much more in his mind over you and your life and your family than anybody else. And I'll go to Israel at any moment, even if there's a war breaking out. There's no other place that I'd rather be. So hopefully that tells you enough about that. Next slide. Cost and registration. The tour cost is $3,540. And if you want to have your own private room throughout the time, it's $1,400 extra. And then the flight could be around $1,600 from Richmond. I think from Dulles we'll be able to push that price down quite a bit. There's a QR code. You can register online right there. It takes you right to the registration page. Is the QR code also in the brochure? Yeah, it is. So you can go straight to there and begin to register there and leave your deposit right there as well online. So next slide. Wonderful questions. Any questions?
Curiosity question is, when we travel from, let's say, one destination to another and then to another hotel, are we constantly, like in the morning, taking our luggage to the bus? Or what's happening with our luggage that we go about that?
Yeah, so what'll happen is the very first hotel you spend one night, right? So the next morning you will pack up your luggage and then put it out into the lobby, and the porters will put it back on the bus. So the porters will take it from the bus and bring it to your room, and then the porters will put it back on the bus. So the hotel you'll be staying 3 nights, and also again the last Jerusalem you'll be spending 4 nights. So it's the same kind of a travel. The luggage will always go with you when you change hotels. Does that answer your question? Now CPAP, I use a CPAP, so it just will tell you exactly what plug to get for your CPAP. It'll work just fine. We're going to fill up the trip by about 40, 45 people. So the first come, first serve kind of a situation. And again, there's a lot of people that said that they wanted to be a part of this trip that can't be here today. So I would highly recommend get in there now. Once it fills up, what we do sometimes is we'll do what's called a wait list to see if we have another 30 people extra. Beyond that, then we'll open up another bus. But so get yourself in there first. That's the best way to do it. And registration until the time of purchasing the airline tickets is usually when it's about 6 months prior, maybe 4 months prior that we purchased the airline tickets. It's also in the brochure. By that time, we need to be fully registered at that point. Now, we will try to, no, we shouldn't even tell them, but we're very flexible. So if for some reason you have a family member that wants to jump in, and in the last 30 days, I mean, 3 months, and we're not sure if we're going to be able to do it, but there's a chance that we will, if there's a chance, we will make it happen. Any other questions? Absolutely gorgeous. Warm. Yeah. So we were just there. What month were we there? March, and it was 85 in Jerusalem. Jerusalem's a lot higher, meaning it should be a lot cooler. And we had 85 degrees, not every day, but 65 degrees. And this is in March, so May it'll be just nice. Yeah, yeah. Yes, good. Pastor Bob. Yeah, 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 yeah. Pastor Bob. Yeah, let Kathy speak to that.
So yes, go ahead and register. And they do require you to put a number for your passport number. If you don't know, if you have an old one, use your old number. If you're renewing, you can, or if you've never had a number, just make up a number. Yeah. You can type renewing. You can just type renewing, type in renewing, and then when you get the expiration date line, just put in that day's date. And as soon as I see that, it's going to flag to me that we need to follow up, and I'm going to, we know you're getting your passport renewed. Yeah. Don't let the passport hold you up from registering. Yeah.
Yes.
But if you passport is the process, the last one that I put in for, they had 3 times mistakes. So they can run into complications. So the longer you have, the better off.
Right. So that also brings up a good point. When you register, make sure you put your passport name. So if your mother called you, Bobby, right? Do the whole name, including the middle name, and also if you have a senior, junior, or second, third at the end, make sure it's all in there so that because the airline will go with what you have in your passport. The other day, I missed the middle name when I registered my wife for something, and it cost me $50 just to make that change. So you don't want to do that. Yes. What's the question?
Hi, Rabbi Paul. We were curious, is there any restrictions on adding family members now? Like if a husband and wife want to go together, or is that something you need to wait on?
No, no. Add any person that you want to go. The only thing is that for our back office sake, we need to have each person register as an individual, but we will connect you because there is a place that says you want to be your roommate will be your spouse. So just put your spouse there, and we will always connect you into that. And so also other family members as well. Yes, ma'am. We will walk you through that. It's a brand new kind of a visa situation. It's not. I, is it a visa? It's not. It's more of just registering that you're coming. This is the first year I've ever had to do it. Once you do it, it's valid for 2 years, believe it or not. But the visa you'll actually get at the airport. You really don't need a. They will just give you a free visa. There's no cost to the visa. This costs about $7 to do online. We will walk you through that at the time. You can't really do it until 3 days prior. Yeah. So we'll walk you through all that.
3 days prior is the absolute deadline. If I recommend for our guests that about a month before the tour that they go online and they get this approved, and then they send me their approval, and then I send it ahead to the Israel team. So, but again, we're going to walk you through all that. What was your question? Mm-hmm. Mm. This one is ETAIL, so that's just Israel. So the one you got for Europe or wherever is different. Yeah. But if you went on an Israel tour earlier this year or last year, I got my ETAIL last year, it's still going to be good.
Yes. Email, and then we'll also set up dates where we'll have preparation meetings, either by Zoom or in person. We'll be able to go through all that. Then, second of all, we will also do an extra training when you go to Israel, so that about the locations, about the different places you'll visit, because when you get there, the information comes at you so quickly. You're so like mesmerized by the scenery that a lot of it just kind of washes over you. So by kind of giving you a head start before we go, it'll actually help you absorb a lot more while you're on the ground. So we're going to do two of those. Yes, well, everybody will have their own whisperers to be able to hear the guide or anybody that's speaking, even if it's 50 yards away.
At the end of the day, we're going to get together and discuss what we've seen, what we've done. Are we just going to disappear?
How social are you? No, so we will. Our guide does a good job of recapping the day for us, but then he lets you go and get to your room and get to dinner, and then dinner is a social area. So the idea is to go ahead and share with each other the highlights of that day for you. Then at the farewell dinner, we will allow have an open floor again to be able to do that. We don't want to, because we have you as a captive audience in a bus during the day. We want to give you some freedom in the evenings to cherish, and you get to also break off in groups and go and see some of your own places, especially in Jerusalem, go shopping, etc., on your own. Well, the Holocaust, yes, right, that needs a conversation because you need to kind of decompress the Holocaust Museum. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, we'll definitely go there as well.
I noticed I was a big guy. He didn't have lunches on the thing. Is lunches going to be provided or not? Like, what is it like 1 week or two?
So lunches, we will stop for lunches, but the only thing that is that you will be paying for the lunches on site. So that's kind of the way it goes. Two of those lunches will be actually amongst the Druze people. Druze is a very unique people group in Israel, and you hear about them now on the Golan Heights. One of the missiles that when Pastor Bob was there, one of the missiles hit their village. If you remember that in the news, we're not going to that village right on the Mount Hermon, the footsteps of Mount Hermon, but there's another village right nearby. They love us, and they just are such servant-hearted people. They love cooking for us. So we'll all stop there and have lunch. So throughout the time, you'll always be able to eat. And yeah, anyway, that's enough. Yeah.
This is a private room, but also I'm single. So is there a way to match me up with someone? Is there?
Yeah. If there is someone, do you know a friend maybe that wants to go with you? There you go. Yep. Yeah, as long as the other person is agreed to, if you agree with the other, that kind of a thing, we always match you up. Yeah. All right. Good questions though, Pastor. So, the, in Jerusalem, I joke that everything is uphill, but it's very hilly kind of a terrain. Then, because of a lot of the roads are still from old, ancient times, they can be a little bit. They're definitely uneven. So I would highly recommend begin to start walking now. You will be walking some in a lot of the different locations to the sites and back to the bus, to the sites and back to the bus, that kind of a thing. But even that requires a unique thing. So a couple of years ago, we were on a tour, and there was an elderly couple. They were in their early 80s, and they told me at the end of the trip, they said, you know, we did like 80,000 steps or something like that. But I didn't burst their bubble because on the bus, every time you hit the bus hits a bump, that's considered a step. So is it 80,000 or not? You know, however, 10,000 steps a day is can happen. And so it could have been, 8 days. So anyway, yeah, start walking. No, no vaccines. Just be up on whatever that you like. If it's safe, by that time it should be safe. We'll go to Bethlehem. So Bethlehem is not in Israel proper. So Guy, what what I might do is I might just take you in to Bethlehem, because for Guy as an Israeli, it can be a little problematic because of his passport, right? So um, we'll have to take our passports with us just in case they check it. But but Bethlehem, for the most part, is safe. There's also a very dwindling Christian community in there, and so we have some very good relationships with this one. There's about 12 different Christian families that have a store, and we like to take you there to if you would like to shop there for the purposes. That's the only place that we actually will take you to support the Christians in Bethlehem. They used to be 70% Christian, Bethlehem used to be, and then they pushed them out, and now there's about maybe 1.9% left. So we need to go and support the Christians there. Yeah. Tabash, have you been? Okay. Yeah.
Roughly, you mentioned that hotels next to the beach, will be in the city. About roughly, what times are we to gather and what times are we being dismissed? So I'm just thinking, like you mentioned, like morning prayer. Like, do I have to go to like 6 a.m. to go do that? Like what kind of average times are we kind of in the queue?
Yes, 6 a.m. Just kidding. No. So you'll have breakfast first, right? And then we will leave at 8:30, 9 o'clock, something like that is when we 6:30. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And if you need to stay back a day, if it's not a switch from hotel to hotel, we say, hey, stay back if that's what you need. But there's a thing called FOMO. So, do you know what FOMO is? Fear of missing out. So, nobody ever really misses out. Yeah. It's wonderful to have everyone here. If you have any more questions, of course, you can contact us. Rhonda. Okay. And as I do close, I do, and she's going to share a little bit about the Watchman Group. This is Passover, and this church has embraced everything biblical about the Jewish elements, and that is Passover is very Jewish. Jesus kept Passover, so we're going to keep Passover Thursday in the other room over here. I think there's about how many seats are left open? 10. So if you don't have anywhere to go for Passover this year, you can always come on Thursday. So, but somehow there's a sign-up sheet somewhere, right? Oh, Jessica. Yeah, she'll sign you up. It's going to be a wonderful time here on Thursday night. So happy Passover. And Rhonda?
called a watchman on the wall. And we have a lot of people, well, not a huge number of people, but a lot of people that participate in this. But it's not to be taken lightly. It's actually a call from God for your life, a plan and purpose for your life. And you're here listening about going to Israel, and you're hearing this, so you may very well be chosen to be a watchman on the wall. Y'all have an opportunity that most people don't have. Most people, it comes in 2 sessions. You have a workbook, you go to some training, and then the second part is a mission trip to Israel. Well, y'all are right here going. So you can kind of conquer it fast if you believe that you're called to be a watchman. We actually have 2 books here with the one Paul showed you. These are workbooks. Commissioning to be a watchman is something very special. Not only are you commissioned by God himself and called, but you are commissioned to be an ambassador for Israel through Aliyah, through the Israeli government. They've put their seal of approval on it. And we possibly at this commission will have Tom Hess, who also started the Watchman program many, many, many years ago. A lot of possibilities here. It's an exciting thing. You are an ambassador for the kingdom, for Israel, for the Jewish nation. You are an intercessor, and you are also a representative to your church and to the people around you. Many people are coming on board wanting to pray for Israel and the Jewish nations, many churches. Walls are being torn down in the churches. We are all coming together, all denominations, praying for Israel and the Jewish people, just like the Bible talks about. We're here right now. So I'm kind of pushing it. You have a chance. We have 2 notebooks here. I have cards if you want to call. Your Jessica is getting ready to be commissioned. Bob's interested in going through the book even. It's something special. Just let us know. And we will get you on board. We'll get you started. We will meet with you. We have some training coming up available in October. And it'll all take place right there. And it's just, I just can't stress enough to you. I mean, it's like y'all are the chosen people. Y'all get to go to Israel. And most people have to go through the notebook and wait a while. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Rhonda. You know, God starts things in small ways. Yet God is, the influence is enormous. We just met a couple of weeks ago. We met with the governor of Samaria, and he's coming in May. Wants to meet the governor of Virginia, and so he wants us to connect them. And so these are just little ways that you don't know where you end up with different connections, and God is using this this ministry to do big things. My wife always tells me to keep our ministry small, because the smaller we are, the greater God is, right? And so that's why I so enjoy this, what God is doing over and over again. So if there's any other questions, we can mingle for a little bit. Yeah, good question. You can, we'll walk you through a lot of that. But as far as medication, you don't necessarily need to have everything in your bottles. However, if that's what you want, however, one of the things that we do want to do is to let us know what kind of medications you have to take, so that in the event that anything happens to you in Israel, the doctors will be able to see quickly exactly what you take, so that they can take those things into account. No. Just a prescription medication. As you get closer, yeah. But it's not something that we even necessarily want to have. We just want to have it written down that you carry on yourself, so that we know that in the event of anything happening. Should I tell a story? Yes, I can tell one story. Speaking of medical, there is a church not too far from here. They came on the Israel trip with us. 2 days before the trip, the gentleman calls me and says, I've got this very acute, unique cancer, and the doctor just switched me onto a different kind of medicine. You never do that, right before a trip, but they did. And so sure enough, 2 days before, I didn't even know he had acute cancer. However, he came anyway, and sure enough, he got sick because of the whatever the flus or whatever the respiratory kind of things. And we had the doctor come to the hotel and check him out, and he said, "You need to go to the hospital." So they took him to the hospital. He spent 4 days in the hospital there, and what was interesting is this couple, the husband and wife, took it so well. They knew that the Lord was in it. And sure enough, what happened is they actually had to stay an extra week. Isn't that terrible? Actually, to them, it was wonderful. You get to stay an extra week in Israel. And so the doctors there did tests on him. They discovered things about his illness that the American medical had missed, because the Israeli medical is quite higher, much higher than the American medical. And so they sent him home with a diagnosis and what do you call it, a plan. And they said, if your doctor's willing to do this, you'll be fine. Sure enough, he is fine. And 5 years later, he's outside of his bubble. He used to be in kind of like a protective environment. Now he's living life to the fullest. So just want you to know that, like, if I get sick with stuff, my friend Guy just the other day, he said, if you ever get sick, just come over here. So I said, okay, I will do that. Anyway, that's the God story again in that situation. And the medical, I've had both my boys as little kids. They were 3 and under, maybe 4 and under, and at the emergency in the medical system in Israel. And they, even to the point of diaper rash, right? The Americans couldn't deal with my one son's diaper rash, but they just said, here, put this in there. And then I brought it to the doctor here. He couldn't read Hebrew, so it was all the ingredients were on there. So I've only had great experience with the medical situation there. Any other questions? Again, it's not the chosen place. It's not the promised land for nothing. God has chosen that location. God has chosen the people, and God has chosen the Gentiles who've been grafted in to be a part of that. So we aren't just physical people. We're also spiritual people that is very active in our physical world. And so I think that we can take onus in that God is very much watching over us as his chosen people. Amen. Let me close in prayer. God, we just thank you that Passover is relevant to every one of us because of what you did on that cross. You brought salvation, not just for Israel. You brought it for all the nations. And God, I thank you that we get to be a part of that great rescue mission, that we get to have salvation in you. And as we celebrate Passover this week and Holy Week and the Resurrection Day, we celebrate you for what you've done for us. And we just thank you for this. And thank you that we get to have the opportunity to be able to get over to Israel, to see firsthand, to experience, to grow deeper into the Word of God. And we just bless you for that as we begin this process of putting it all together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Refreshments this way, right? Through this door.